Hey everybody, welcome back to the Producer Bro Show. Back at it again with another book review. Another one for October, you guys. All right, so we got Leo, or Fleo, joining us today. You can see him kind of hanging out at the front there. I didn't have the heart to move him. Cats are just like that. They're going to take over the space they want. Leo thinks he's the fucking king of the house, and I guess he kind of is. We're going to let him chill there. And y'all will be happy because who doesn't like a cat joining the video, right? Today we're going to be talking about Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. The novel came out in 1959. Surprisingly, there were a lot of things in terms of the prose that I found to come off as really modern in terms of the style of her writing, in terms of the language used, in terms of the dialogue. A lot of the time, some of the time, it is very dated. The ideas of it are very dated. Now, I have gone back and forth with this novel. I read this book years ago and have recently just finished it last night to prepare for this. It was actually something I thought I was going to really enjoy upon reread. And surprisingly, it disappointed me kind of a lot. And it sounds crazy. I'm actually going to go off on a weird rant here because I don't know what my expectations were. I think that this book has a reputation for being like one of the best. It's anybody who's read this book sings its praises, right? Stephen King said some stuff, Neil Gaiman said some stuff, and it's all about how awesome this book is. Now, maybe that was wrong of me to expect it to kind of make me feel a certain way about it, and then it just missed the mark. Maybe that was wrong, but I don't know. I kind of fell on the end of really thinking it was a bit silly, and I'm trying to find out why that is. Now, I think I did really like the prose, like I said. It does feel kind of cool and sleek and modern in a way, even though it is from 1959. But man, it just missed the mark for me. I found a lot of what was going on in this book to be rather silly. And I don't want to feel that way when I'm reading a horror novel. Now, we just finished The Shining, and you can tell that Mr. King got a lot of references and stuff from this. The haunted house, I mean, they do a hotel, the isolation, of course, haunting itself. Croquet makes an appearance, and we kind of talked about that in The Shining. There's a lot of people that are singing its praises here, and it was just fucking stupid. I don't know how else to say it. I really wanted to come out the other end of this, really enjoying it, but man, I found these characters to be thoroughly unlikable, and I tried to like them. Our main character, Eleanor, I found her to be a little grating, a bit childish, and I know that's kind of the point. Real immature in an obnoxious way, because you do get a lot of her inner thoughts. And then there would be these interactions with some of the other characters, Theodora, Luke, Dr. Montague himself, the caretaker of the house, Dudley or something. And you would sort of see her thoughts about these different people and her thoughts about herself. She's constantly, worrying about if people are talking about her, and if she came out, if it was a stupid thing of her to say or whatever. It comes up often enough to be annoying. Had it just been a couple of instances, you go, oh, okay, well, yeah, she's a young lady. She doesn't have that much experience in the world. That sort of stuff can be forgiven, but I didn't care for it. Now, I can see a lot of people jibing with it. I didn't. Theodora, I thought at first she was kind of interesting and fun. A lot of the characters come off that way in the beginning, right? When you're first meeting them, there's a lot of humor associated with what's going on in the house. They laugh off a lot of the stuff, but then you think it's almost a nervous kind of laughter, a nervous kind of where I'm giggling and laughing because I'm uncomfortable and I don't know what to do. And that's fine, but that energy doesn't go away. They don't change their behavior throughout the story. They're always being sarcastic and making jokes. And I'm like, for me, reading the story, I really wanted to feel freaked out. And when the characters aren't acting freaked out, then I'm not concerned for their safety. I'm not concerned for their well-being. I'm not concerned with the drama of the story because the characters themselves aren't. And I had a hard time getting over that. So I'm looking at all these people um, giving this book like 4 out of 5 stars, 5 stars. This is like an excellent. I kind of didn't like it almost at all. I don't think I'm going to revisit this one. And I'm actually surprised because I thought, with all the things that people keep saying about it, that I was going to really love it. But man, it just fell short. And what happens at the end kind of sucked too. So the plot of this story is a Dr. Montague who is studying paranormal phenomenon gets together this idea where he wants to have different people come to the house and kind of study it, the sort of events, because this house has a reputation for a haunting, right? So he basically gets all these people together and they're supposed to take notes and talk about what's going on, what their experiences are. And yeah, it's very simple. A bunch of people have a reason to stay in a haunted house and scary shit happens. That's pretty much it. And that's fine. I'm cool with a very simple story. You get introduced to a character, Luke, who his issue here is that he's supposed to at some point inherit the Hill House, and that's part of the reason why he's going to be hanging out with this group. Theodora, it's suggested that she has some psychic ability. They say that she does this. They do this game where, or test where they're trying to get her to guess the shapes on cards, and more often than not, she guesses them. And then Eleanor, she has a weird thing. I didn't really understand what it was, but it was kind of interesting, at least at first, where one of the reasons she gets chosen, or they call her out for this experiment, or whatever we want to call this thing, is because they have this experience in their house, Eleanor's house, where it was rained upon by stones, and they couldn't figure out why or how. So yeah, she's associated with paranormal phenomena also. And so there's this psychic, there's this person that's supposed to inherit the house, there's the Dr. Montague. Now, what I ended up concluding after all this was that all the characters annoyed me. I didn't like any of them. And that's just me personally. I'm okay with a couple of characters, me not really having any fondness towards. Miss Jackson didn't get me to care about him, and it might just be me. I didn't like any of them. I didn't like Luke. I didn't like Montague. I didn't like Eleanor. I didn't really care for Theodora. She started to annoy me real fast. Part of what's going on there, as far as me finding these characters really unlikable, is the humor. The humor is, first off, it's not funny. Everything was sarcastic. How much of the dialogue is just going to be them playing around? It doesn't improve the characters. We don't go, oh, Luke is the funny one, and then he comes up with these quips. It's all the characters kind of joking and kind of not taking anything serious. I'm pretty sure someone out there will agree with me if they read this, that yeah, they kind of joke around a little bit too much. I wanted to be on pins and needles. I wanted to be worried that something bad was going to happen to one of the characters. I was almost rooting for something horrible to happen. Basically, I think I'm in the minority here, guys. I want to stand proud in my assessment. This is how I feel. I'm not going to be swayed by other people, other reviewers, authors who might have picked up on a lot of things that I missed. Not might, probably did. Who am I to argue with Neil Gaiman about this book? You know what I mean? I mean, if I were sitting with him, he'd be like, dude, you missed the theme of this, or whatever the case might be. I'm fucking bummed. It's October. It's supposed to be what I consider one of my favorite months of the year, because I like to explore the spooky nature of things. I like to see horror movies. I like to read horror novels. I like to be freaked out. I want to be jumping at shit in the shadows. I want to be thinking creepy thoughts and wondering about monsters and supernatural and ghosts. I want to be in it. I want to live it. This book just couldn't get me there. There's like a theory, Theodora and Eleanor, when they're together, they sort of feed off one another's energy. So I know that that's one of the, I guess, theories or conclusions that some people come to, that there's actually not a haunting at all, that it's Eleanor and Theodora sort of feeding the supernatural energy and sort of making these things happen. Now, all the people in the house have an experience, but it seems to be more so when Theo and Eleanor are together. And that's kind of a fun theory where you go, well, there's actually nothing wrong with the house. It just has crazy history. Eleanor's psychic power is sort of making it happen. And that, again, reminds me of like Stephen King. You can almost tell that he was like writing his version of this in a way where the Overlook Hotel and Danny are kind of feeding off one another. And that's kind of like, and it's just because I finished The Shining recently, right, that I was sort of looking at this and going, oh man, King really, really took some stuff from this. In my opinion, The Shining is much, much better than this. And I don't know that I'm going to be alone in that. I think I have something controversial to say. I think people are going to say that this book is better than it is because they feel like they're supposed to say that. They're supposed to say, oh, it's a classic and whatever. I feel like people are saying that they enjoy this when they might not actually. That they're sort of obligated to, or they might feel sort of pressure that people are going to think that they're wrong or whatever. But I feel like there's a lot more people that are going to side with me on this one, that this book kind of sucked. It's heartbreaking to say that. I didn't want to fall into the trap of saying what people thought I should say. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. I think I have a very different, scary graphic novel, actually, that I want to talk about. And I read it a couple years back, and I'm rereading it currently. And I forgot how fucking terrifying this graphic novel is. And it's really good for me to step away from something that I didn't really enjoy to something I know for sure that I am really liking, and I think it's going to be something that most of y'all have never heard of. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Basically, kind of hated this book. Sorry, I don't know what else to say. If you loved it, cool. Talk shit to me in the comments, or tell me I got it wrong. Tell me I'm dumb. That's fine. I'll accept all the criticisms. Or if you're not afraid to be like, you know what, she kind of missed the mark on this one, Miss Jackson, I'm going to come back at you with that graphic novel, and we're going to finish out October in a very strong way. We're going to come at you with the second part of the Rocky series. So that's going to be a fun one. But in the meantime, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back at you guys as soon as I can. So y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining me and listening to my bullshit little rant. I just had to get this one off my chest because I just finished it. Y'all come back and see me again. Hey guys, I thought I should just come back on here real quick and mention that Netflix did do an adaptation of Haunting of Hill House, and it was pretty good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really fun, very sleek, very chill, very cool for the spooky season for sure. If you're going to do one or the other, I'm going to recommend that you do the adaptation, believe it or not, because I didn't care for this book all that much. So if you're going to jumping between the two, what do you think you're going to get more enjoyment or entertainment out of? The adaptation is what I'm going to say you should go for. But, you know, I have reasons for that. I really enjoyed Kate Siegel. I love her. She's such a beautiful actress. Carla Gugino also. She's just amazing. So I have a bit of a special place in my heart for those actresses, and therefore I'm gonna go ahead and say check out the adaptation because of that. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Just check it out. It's really awesome.